But wow, what an early snow for us. Last year, it was October 10th. That was our first measurable snowfall here in Denver. So this is, well over a month in advance. Cold today, chilly tomorrow. We've got 2 action days through midweek, and then things will start to warm up. This is awesome. When you look at our 7-day forecast, again, speaking of 50-degree changes in temperatures, we're going to be back in the 80s this weekend. 77 with sunshine on Saturday, and then 82 on Sunday. I feel like, Jace, here in Colorado, it's one of those places where we could close the pools down and then open them right back up a few days later.
I know we were at the pool yesterday for the last day of the pool because it was Labor Day, and then boom, we have now we're ready to go break out the skis. Jolene was running around going, "Daddy, can I go play in the snow tomorrow?" Fine, try, sure. We have some snowy conditions to the west. I've seen Highway 93 already have a lot of snow out there through Golden, parts of Boulder, and now I want to take it up towards the Evergreen area, South Turkey Creek area, Indian Hills, just on the west side of C470. Take a look from that camera there, and you see at the park and ride some snow starting to stick to a little bit of the grassy areas and to that van that's parked there in the parking lot there, the parking ride. Now I want to take you down to Santa Fe at Union, where it's just wet. A lot of splashback we're dealing with. That's what most of us are going to be driving through right now. All the splashback in very, very wet conditions. So hydroplaning is a major problem. And even though you might see those snow totals of 5, 6, 7, 8 inches, that's not necessarily what we're going to be driving on here today. I do think tonight into tomorrow morning, it could be a little bit more icy and slick just because we're going to have cold all day, and we're going to have that ability for the roads to get really, really cold, especially the bridges, ramps, and overpasses. So I think it's going to be more of a slick drive tomorrow morning and into tonight than it will be right now and throughout today.
President Trump suggested people should vote twice to test our election system. So this morning, Colorado's top election official is threatening legal action against him.
Plus, we're getting our first taste of winter weather this morning, how restaurants plan to adjust their patios and seating for colder weather.
Get Denver 7 News updates on your Alexa-enabled device. Add the Denver 7 News skill in the Alexa app, then say, "Alexa, what's my flash briefing?"
Time now is 5:23, and we are under a Denver 7 weather action day this morning, as many across the Front Range will see their first snowfall of the season this morning. Hey, just go back to bed. This is a live look from I-70 near Idaho Springs. You can see the roads are just mainly wet there, but as the sun comes up, the rain will transition into snow. We're going to be checking back in with Lisa and Jason in just a few minutes.
Colorado's Secretary of State is now threatening to take action against President Trump if Coloradans double vote this election. Jenna Griswold said she would consider referring the president for prosecution if any double voting cases happen. It's in response to the president's call for voters to test the integrity of our election system by casting both a mail-in and in-person ballot. As a reminder, it is illegal to vote twice. Griswold says her office is serious about stopping voter fraud. Thousands of absentee ballots get rejected each election, but this year experts warn it could be worse. The coronavirus is creating a surge for mail-in voting, and if ballots are turned down at the same rate as this year's primaries, that means up to 3 times as many voters might not get their say. Ballots can go uncounted for arriving too late, voters forgetting to sign them, or signatures not matching what's on file at election offices. Officials encourage voters to double check all of these things.
And just a reminder, on October 9th, Colorado's incumbent Republican Senator Cory Gardner will debate Democratic challenger John Hickenlooper right here on Denver 7. It's in partnership with the Denver Post and Colorado Public Radio. You can catch it all right here on Denver 7 at 5 p.m. or on your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Android. Labor Day might be over, but some sales are just getting started. ABC's Becky Worley has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, Labor Day might be over, but the sales are just getting started.
Everyone is going to be shopping earlier because they don't know what's going to come in the next couple months. There might be another lockdown. So people are going to be getting their gifts earlier.
The next savings event is the big one, Black Friday. And let me tell you, it's gonna be weird this year. Why? Because as brick and mortar sales have dwindled or disappeared during lockdown, online sales have boomed.
There were shutdowns and they had a lot of merchandise. So instead of just moving that merchandise out, they're putting that out on deep discount so people can actually purchase them.
So where can you find these big fall deals? We'll have everything you need to know to save big coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Becky Worley, ABC News, Oakland, California.
5:26 now. Could Colorado high school football make a comeback this fall? Why, it's not out of the question.
Plus, before you leave the house this morning, bundle up, pull the jackets out of the closet. Our temperatures have dropped 50 degrees overnight. After the break, we're going to check back in with our crew spread across the Front Range on this soggy and soon to be snowy morning.
Right now on Denver 7 News at 5:30, from summer to snow, we are under a Denver 7 weather action day as our first taste of winter arrives.
It is cold. We are looking at temperatures this morning that are about 25 degrees colder than the same time yesterday. This afternoon, it's going to be about 60 degrees colder than what we saw yesterday. We'll take a look at the timing of the snow and the cold coming up.
Starts to transform into snow. We are tracking how things are looking across the Front Range. Certainly doesn't look or feel like early September, though. Welcome back to Denver 7 News. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Molly Hendrickson. This morning, we're making sure you know what to expect from this summer snowstorm. Our Denver 7 team is tracking conditions across the entire Front Range.
We want to start our team coverage with Lisa once again. How long is this weather going to stick around?
Yeah, we've got a good 2-day event from this. The snow is really going to get going here pretty soon. Right now we're seeing mainly wet roads, rain. It's starting to switch over though in spots, and we're going to see that mix happen here early this morning. Yesterday, 93 degrees. Today, we're going to see a high of about 38. In fact, right now, likely some of the warmest temperatures that we'll see all day long as things are going to gradually get colder later today. 3 to 6 inches of snow expected across the metro area. We'll take a closer look at the timing of that, but that's going to be your totals by tomorrow, so within the next 24 to 48 hours. Right now, you can see the rain covering the entire metro area west of Denver, getting up into the foothills. Seeing more of a mix there. You're going to find it starting to stick to some of the grassy surfaces as well. And then here in town, a number of alerts. In fact, a lot of pretty colors across the map this morning, from freeze warnings to winter storm warnings to winter weather advisories. We've got quite a bit of activity here within the next couple of days. And tomorrow morning, temperatures are going to drop down below freezing. So if you have any exposed pipes, I'd get those covered up. It's not necessary to exactly blow out the sprinklers, but we're looking at anything that might be exposed getting covered. And of course, those plants as well. If you're trying to save them, bring them in or cover them up. You can see some of the totals that we're looking at. The Palmer Divide, upwards of about 5 to 10 inches. So that's going to be down south, a little closer to Castle Pines, Castle Rock, and then east through Elizabeth and Kiowa. Our foothills could be looking at over a foot of snow. We'll take a closer look at the timing of this. I'll show you that futurecast, Jason, hour by hour, coming up here in a few minutes.
And I'm going to show you this camera in just a second. I saw some flashing lights. Actually, some of the CDOT plows are down on 470. I'll show you that in just a second. This picture is actually up in Wyoming right now, where I-80 is closed down because of the very thick, heavy, wet snow that they're dealing with up there. And it is moving this way. We aren't seeing any closures yet in Colorado yet of any of our major highways. Let's take you to Highway 93 out to the west side of town first, between Golden and Boulder. And you can see the snow that is in the slush that's on the lens. You can actually see some snow now sticking to the grass, just wet on the pavement, but the snow, as you look at the very far right and left side of the screen, you can see the snow is really blowing out there to the west side. Now take a look at C470 down at Santa Fe, where it looks again just wet, but I did see the plows out just a few minutes ago, and so they are making sure that the conditions are going to be okay for you to drive on. Now Highway 93, as you look on the map, or 36, anywhere out there through Arvada, Wheat Ridge, the west side of town, it's again just wet for us. I'm not seeing any significant delays yet on the travel times, at least here in town, and I'm not seeing any big problems yet, except for the hydroplaning, the splashback, and then dealing with the snow that is now sticking to some of the windshields. One of those areas that's going to be problematic for us is going to be just to the west of Golden, up there around Genesee, Evergreen, Idaho Springs to the west, and Daryl Orr has been driving up that way. Daryl, how's it been for you, one, on the roads, and also with the snow sticking to maybe the windshield?
Yeah, Jason, right now I-70 here in Genesee is not too bad. Cars are going slow, and like you said, the biggest problem has been the hydroplaning and pooling water up here and down in the metro area. The temperatures are cooling off up here. We are now below freezing at 31 degrees, and we are starting to get quite a bit of snow sticking to metal surfaces and grassy areas, and it is a wet snow, so you can make it pack into snowballs here. It's hard to believe that yesterday was 70, or a year ago here in Genesee, it was 73 degrees. It's much different this morning, and it's going to be definitely a ride for a lot of people coming back from the mountains after Labor Day weekend. Now, the reason the snow is not sticking to the surfaces right now is we're going to pull out our thermometer here. We're showing 41 degrees ground temperature, and that's because, you know, we've been hitting the 90s and 100 degrees all week long. So it's going to take a while for this ground to start getting cold enough for the snow to stick. Now, if we get a heavy burst of snow up in this area, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some slushy conditions into the Rocky Mountains this morning. So here we are at 7,800 feet above sea level. It is cold. It is wind chill 27 degrees. We have winds that are sometimes gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour and just a little bit of light snow. So just a little common sense this morning. We'll drive in, watch the other drivers, and don't forget to get some washer fluid for your windshield. Live in Genesee, Darrell Ord, Denver 7.